Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited about today's video because I am going to be using all drugstore products. I am not typically a drugstore girl. It's not something that gets me overly excited. I just love my higher end luxury products. I always have, always will. A lot of y'all will comment about how I don't use enough drugstore. There are plenty of all drugstore channels. It's just, I have to stay true to myself. However, I have accumulated a few drugstore things, a couple of which are actually dupes for other more expensive things in my collection. So I wanted to put all of them together and do this look, and I can't tell you how much I love this look, especially these eyes. So I think you're going to want to see what I used for that and everything else on my face. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the look. Okay, so I don't plan on using a primer today, but I did buy this, and even though the color of my foundation doesn't need this as an all-over primer, I do just want to play with it because I haven't played with it yet. And it's the Revlon Skin Lights Face Glow Illuminator, and I got the color 305 Sunburst Bronze. So I mean, it's basically a face illuminator. I think you can use it however you want to use it. Like it says, wear alone, dab onto the cheekbones, or mix with foundation. And that's why I got the bronze color, because I do have a lot of foundations that are too light for me. So I wanted to try this. Now again, my foundation that I'm using does not require to be darkened, but I'm going to use this anyways on the perimeter of my face. So this is the color right here. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit. This may be a total bust, but we shall see. And you may not be able to see this through my foundation, but we're just playing with makeup here, so. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be covering it. But basically just where I bronze normally. But this will show you like the color of it. So I can envision in summer me using this like as an all-out primer, or mixing it like it says with foundations that I need to make a little darker. And what I like about it is that it's not like shimmery, super shimmery. When you see Skin Illuminator, you think sparkle, but really it's just like a really pretty sheen. So anywho, I just wanted to show that little new find. The foundation we're going to be using is the Maybelline Dream Radiant Liquid Hydrating Foundation. So it looks like this. I am the color Natural Beige. This matches my shoulders and my chest and my arms, which are covered right now, but it is the right color for me. So this says it has hyaluronic acid in it, which is very, very, very far down on the list and very far under phenoxyethanol. So I'm not using this for the plumpness factor. Let's just say that. I have only tried this once. So, and it's been a little bit of a hot minute since I've done that. So this is the color Natural Beige. The brushes I'm using today are not drugstore. I don't have enough from the drugstore. So we'll have to have some grace on that, but I'm just going to apply this like I normally do. I started out with one pump. So we're going to see if I need to add more than that. This almost, when I first apply it, has a little bit of a green cast. So if you have like super olive skin, you're going to like this undertone. I think it still works for me. So that is one pump. I did use everything that was on my hand. And I think this has a solid medium coverage. I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera, but I do have a little bit of peeling going on over here. You may be able to see it on my neck. Isn't that gross? Let's just swipe that away. But other than that, I think it is a pretty foundation. I don't think it's overly radiant. I mean, I had a little bit of a glow going before I put the foundation on, just for my skincare and my SPF. But I do think it's a very natural, healthy look. Let's talk about some concealers. I got the new e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I have had in the past, and still do obviously, the regular 16-hour Camo Concealer, and I actually really like this. Now, I got them both out because I want to show you the difference in color. They are both medium sand. And the reason I got medium sand in the hydrating is because I had it in the regular and it worked. But can you see how different those colors? So this is the regular medium sand. And then that is the new hydrating. They could not be more different. So I'm showing this to you to say, if you like the original one, don't think that whatever color you are in that is going to work. Because obviously that's not the case. I am going to use the hydrating. It's just going to be a little bit darker than I normally use. I don't like to go super bright on my concealer, I will say that. This is the e.l.f. Beauty Sponge, my favorite of all beauty sponges. And I don't dislike this concealer. I don't think it's like super revolutionary compared to the original. I just really like the original. I never had an issue with it. And my favorite from the drugstore still continues to be the CoverGirl. What is my, yeah. It's a new brand. Have you heard of them? CoverGirl True Blend that I talked about in my yearly favorites. But I mean, it's a nice concealer. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. And being e.l.f., it's super affordable. So let's let all that sink in. I don't have any other cream products to do, and let's go to the eyes. I have talked a lot lately about how much I love these 9-pan eye palettes from Essence. And I saw that they had recently launched new ones at Ulta. So I immediately snagged a couple up. I don't think these are the only new ones. I do think there's some other ones. Maybe just one other one, but I wasn't necessarily interested in those colors. This one is the Bonjour Montreal. So they've all got like a different either country or city or something that they supposedly represent. They do have a mirror in them, and it is a decent mirror. But these are the colors for Bonjour Montreal. So a little bit darker. I mean, there are some lighter colors over here. Really pretty. There are only 3 mattes in this. They're not overly filled with mattes, I will say that. But this cream color, this brown color, and then this almost purpley brown color are matte. And then this one is Hey LA, and this is fun. This has got lots of pinks and purples and oranges, just very colorful. And I really don't have a clue. I think, want to work with this pink on the lower lash line, but that's about all I know. So let's just go into this matte light brown color. I will say this is probably my favorite transition color out of all the 4 palettes that I have from Essence. A lot of their mattes tend to be a little bit darker, which is not a huge deal, but let's just see how this turns out. This is the Wayne Goss number 20 brush. Okay, so it looks brown in the pan. It's definitely a cooler brown, which is good for the palette, but it almost comes off a little pinky brown on my eyes. These are, I've said before, but if you didn't happen to see that video or whatever, I do think these are incredibly good quality shadows for the price that you pay. This is $9.99. I actually got it with a 20% off coupon, so I spent $8 on it, which is just a little bit over $1 shadow. Really, really good. And you can see, I mean, I built that up, but I like that it's not like in your face so pigmented right at first. They build up nicely. I'm going to take this really pretty peachy color right here. It is not matte, but it's not super metallic either. And I'm going to see how that builds up on the eyes. This is the BK Beauty shader brush. That is pretty. Let me see if I build it up with a finger. This is a really nice soft color. It's a little bit brighter on the eyes than it looks in the pan, but you can still translate that peach in it, which is good. Sometimes I see like a color in the pan, and then once it gets on the eyes, it's like, what happened to that color? That is not the color that I just took out of the pan. But I do see like a very soft baby peach translated. Because I'm going to do that bright pink on the lower lash line, I don't think I'm going to do anything else with the eyes. I don't have like a ton of favorite powders from the drugstore. I do like the CoverGirl. What is the deal? True Blend Minerals Loose Mineral Powder. I do like that. I like the Note powder, which apparently you can't get at Ulta anymore. And I feel like that's about it. But I did get this because it had amazing reviews on Ulta, and it's the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder. Much bigger than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it has 0.7 ounces in it, which is a lot of product, and I think it was like $5, $6, $5.99. And it has 4.5 stars, 62 reviews. This is used to like set and absorb oil, to mattify. It does say you can bake with it. I don't bake ever. Bake cookies. I don't bake my face. I don't know if you can see, the holes are like in a diamond shape. It's kind of messy, so you may not be able to see. And I have used this a couple of times, and I do agree that it is a little bit more like mattifying, which isn't always my favorite, but there is a time and a place for it. It kind of, well, I don't know if I want to say that because I've only used it a couple times. I was going to say it reminds me a little bit of my Chanel powder, but I don't know that it really does, because Chanel powder, I can like look in my mirror like halfway through the day and be like, holy cow, why does my makeup still look so good? And it's because of the Chanel powder, and I don't feel like I did that with this. But it's not a bad powder, certainly not for $6 and the amount of product that you get. For example, the Chanel powder does have 1 ounce of product, which is just a little bit more than this, but it's $50 versus $6. So there you go. This is a new bronzer that I actually picked up in my grocery store. I was waiting on Chad to like pick something up at the pharmacy or something, and I got suckered into the makeup section, which I'm sure happens quite often to a lot of us. And this was on an end cap. It's the new Revlon Skin Lights line, and this is their Prismatic Bronzer. And I got the color Sun-Kissed Beam. So if you can see, it's like one of those baked jelly, gelée or whatever, where you really have to like dig in. But this is the color of it right here. So it's a very subtle color, which I like, but because it's that baked jelly, I do find that natural hair picks it up better. So I'm going to use my Refer 22 brush. And again, I mean, I'm like really digging in, and you still only pick up just a little bit of product. That's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, because I tend to go super overboard with my bronzer anyways. So this kind of helps ensure that I don't do that, even though I will try. It's a pretty color. I honestly, because of the formula, I could have gone even a color darker. But for someone who just wants like a really natural bronze, this is a pretty color. And because of the baked gelée, it does have a slight bit of sheen, but there are no shimmers. If my face is looking a little patchy, it is not the makeup. I can assure you it is because I'm peeling. Just a very pretty bronzer color. Now, on that same end cap, I got sucked into the new Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Highlighter. And I got the color Daybreak Glimmer. This is really pretty gold. This immediately, even before I came home, reminded me of another very popular highlight in my collection, the Amrezy, or Amrezy, however you say it, by Anastasia Beverly Hills. So because of the formula, the baked jelly kind of hard pan formula, it reminded me of it, but also the color. So I swatched both of them side by side, and I don't think y'all would be able to guess which one is which. It's hard for me to even determine. This is the Revlon one on this side, and that's the Amrezy. So incredibly similar. So much cheaper. Now this was like $12. So I'm not saying it's like super cheap, but it's cheaper than this, and you can't get this anymore. So if you didn't get this because of the price or because you just missed out on it, this is a good alternative. So I'm going to take my Anastasia A23 brush. That's a highlighter. We're going to buff. Don't you worry. But as you, oh no, I just put this brush. I use this compact all the time, whether I'm using it or not. This is the Lawless Bronzer to film, because trust me when I tell you that when you have something white, editing and color is so much easier. So I always do this. I just stuck the highlight brush into my bronzer. Again, we will buff that, so don't be like, holy cow, she's gonna leave it like that. But that is how intense and pretty that highlighter is. So a couple of new blushes that also just launched at Ulta, and I was so excited about, because one of my very favorite blushes from the drugstore is the Essence Satin Love blush. And Essence came out with new blushes, and they're just called the Blush. So it just comes in little plain acrylic packaging like everything else. And I'm going to swatch. Let me see if I can get this stuff off my hands, because obviously I'm just going to use one color. But this is a gorgeous color. It's called Bespoke. It's number 20. And it's, I mean, it could be used as a bronzer, most definitely. I need to try it as a bronzer. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, but look at how pretty that is. Oh, I love blushes, that color. I love bronzy blushes. This one's the one we're going to use today. It's called Beloved. It's number 40. It's a real pretty pink. So I'll swatch it for you. This one is definitely more matte, but also really pretty. So I have still yet to find my It Cosmetics blush brush that I absolutely adore. I have no idea where it went to. I've been using the BK Beauty 104 and love it. So that's what I'm going to use today for this blush. Pretty. It's subtle. And I know this light especially tends to wash me out a little bit. But it is a little bit sheer, which is nice because you can build it up. And I am a builder to where I end up having too much. And I really honestly can't stop looking at these eyes. Those two colors, oh, so pretty. So let's buff. This is the powder I talked about in my favorites, and it is the Makeup Revolution Bronzer Reloaded in Holiday Romance. But this is the product that I have been using lately to buff. So I take a duo fiber brush. My most asked question on my channel overall is, what brush is this? It came in a set from Ulta, from It Cosmetics, that they no longer use. They brought the set back over the holidays, and then they put it on sale. So I posted about it on my Instagram stories because so many people have been asking about it. I think a lot of y'all picked it up. It does not matter what brush you use. It truly doesn't. I mean, you could go in with a powder brush if you wanted to. You could go in with a big fat bronzer brush. Like, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I just really like duo fiber brushes, and I really like this one in particular. So I'm just going to load up that product. I felt the face. I don't want to go too hard because I'm peeling. I don't want to make that even worse. Sorry, Chad just got on the phone. You can probably hear him downstairs. That's what I worry about in the new house. My makeup room is so nice. I've got my own bathroom and everything, but it backs up to the kitchen. So I'm going to have to like film when absolutely nobody's home because we live in our kitchen. Okay, so still a pretty strong highlight. I could buff it out more. I just really don't want to exacerbate my peeling. Let's go ahead and spray before I do anything else. This is new from Flower Beauty. It's called Seal the Deal Luminizing Setting Spray. So don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but it is like a bi-phase product. So if you can tell, it's kind of like one part's floating on top of the other. So do shake it up. This does not have fragrance in it. It's very rare for me to find a setting spray without fragrance. And I don't believe it has alcohol either. It doesn't have the ingredients on here. It does have a nice fine mist. I haven't used it yet. But it does leave a nice little glow, which is good for when you use powders like that Wet n Wild that tend to be a little bit more mattifying and you want something a little bit glowier. So let's go in with this fun hot pink color right here. And I want to show you a new brush I've been loving for the lower lash line. This came in my lucky bag from Unit, which is Beautylish. These are drugstore priced. So this brush is $5. And again, it's the 201 brush. It's like a little bit of a longer pencil brush. So I'm just going to pick up some of that pink color and hope I don't completely regret this, because this is pink. And when I'm working with like brighter colors like this, I do like to leave them just for like an accent color. Lower lash line pop of color is really good so that you don't overdo it. but it's still obvious. And this is a gorgeous color. Now he's FaceTiming, so I can hear who he's on the phone with too. Really pretty. Now, I think if I were to have taken this color all the way around my eye, I might look a little bit sick. But since I'm just keeping it to the lower lash line, I actually really like that. I'm going to curl my lashes. I don't have like a, that I can think of, an eyelash curler that I really like from the drugstore. I do feel like I've used the Revlon one before and liked it, but I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm going to tightline with my Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pen. This is something I do every single day, even when I don't wear makeup, because it really just makes that lash line look incredibly thick, almost like you're wearing mascara, even if you're not. Now carry Pixie at Ulta. So it's even easier to get, because even though they carried it at Target, like, I don't know about you, but if I go to Target with my children, especially Cortland, I can't get anywhere near the makeup aisle or we will never leave. So even just going to pick up a replacement eye pencil will result in like an extra hour. So it's just not worth it. It's easier for me to add it into my cart at Ulta. My lower lash line mascara is not Drugstore. It's the MAC Giga Black Lash. I have used it on my lower lashes for, I mean, years. At least the past 5 years. You can get this at Ulta. It's not Drugstore. And I'm using a brand new mascara today. So since I have no idea how it's going to perform in the upper lashes, I didn't want to use it on the bottom. Now, I have been using the Essence Volume Booster Lash Primer lately, and I actually really like it. I will say it's a little bit harder to get completely covered up than the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer, which is also a favorite of mine. They're both really good though. So I just put that on my eyes, and then I'm using this. This is the Maybelline The Falsies Lash Lift. Just bought it, haven't even opened the tube yet. I saw Risa from Risa Does Makeup say that this was a dupe for the Chanel Volume, which is my favorite mascara of all time. So I have high expectations for this. It's not a super wet mascara, which is not a bad thing. I'm going to go in with a second coat. Okay, so that's the mascara. I mean, it's pretty impressive so far. I'll have to do like a one eye with Chanel, one eye with the Maybelline to see if it truly is a dupe, but it is a nice mascara so far. All right, so all we have left is lips. I got a couple of new satin lipsticks from e.l.f. So they look just like this. Of course, I got a nude, more of like a pinky nude. It's right there, and it's called just Cream. These say satin, but they're pretty matte. This one's a little bit more satin. This one is called Nectar. So it's a much warmer color. I also recently got one of the newer color additions to the L'Oreal Color Riche Plump and Shine. And I got Coconut Plump. Are you surprised? So I don't really, I honestly, I was going to wear the Nectar color, but then I did this pink eye and it doesn't look good. So it's not going to look good. So I'm going to use the L'Oreal Plump and Shine. Okay, here's a prime example. These are very fragile. Can you see what just happened? Just from me applying it, totally broke off. The original L'Oreal Shine, Color Riche Shines are not that fragile, so just beware. You know, putting this on, you know what it reminds me of? That YSL lipstick that I just used in my last video. I wonder if I put a little bit of this just to darken it up. That's pretty. Okay, so that was the L'Oreal Color Riche Plump and Shine, and then I put the Nectar from the e.l.f. kind of on top of it. And that is the finished look. I love the eye look. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love the eye. I love these palettes so much. Every time I use these palettes, I'm like, what in the world? This eye look came out so good. You absolutely do not need to go, like, I'm not saying I don't go out and spend bukus of money on my eyeshadow palettes and still love them, because I do. but this proves you don't have to. So I'm excited to use that Montreal one too. So that's it. I pretty much love everything that I used, even the new stuff. So as always, I will have everything linked down below in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope y'all all go out and have a very blessed day.